Hey yo, it's Crystal. It's finally here. I'm finally going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 3, the movie with Shadow the Hedgehog. It's been a while since it came out. It came out December 20th. I did not get to see it opening day. I got to see it like a couple days after. I even completely missed a fan event apparently that happened at a theater near me. I was literally in the mall when this happened, but I did not know about it. I wasn't aware of it at all. It was a early viewing of the movie, and they even gave out merch. I didn't know where this was advertised, and I literally only found out because I was walking in the mall doing some Christmas shopping, and I saw a bunch of Sonic fans, and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I asked one of them who had Shadow Drip, and they told me about it, and I was like, are you serious? I was so upset. And seeing the movie not on the opening day is also just not really fun sometimes because you don't get to have the hype of everyone in the audience. But nonetheless, I got to see the movie and I enjoyed it so much. I do think this is the better one out of the three, for sure. There are some little things here and there that are kind of like, I wonder why they went that direction, but it's nothing bad. Like, I don't think there was really anything really bad about the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually got pretty emotional because not only were there very emotional parts in the movie, but just seeing the movie based off one of my favorite games on the big screen, I'm just like, oh my god, it's here, it's happening, and it just moved me so much. And I've been going through such an emotional time in my life because things have just been really rough for me, and it just, I don't know, I guess it just hit more. And I have to say, I really, 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 really enjoyed this movie. Plus, I got to see it in 4DX, which, there's nothing like feeling Shadow and Sonic beat your ass in 4D. Those moving seats were no joke. I don't know why. I watched the second movie in 4DX, and it did not feel as intense as it did for this third movie. I don't know why, but every time Shadow hit Sonic or whatever, I felt like I was legit getting punched in the back. But it was worth it. I almost fell out my seat a couple of times. It was pretty crazy, but I truly, truly, truly enjoyed this movie, and I can't wait to just talk about this. So let's get into it. So I want to go over my very first overall impressions or feelings. It was surreal. It felt like we've been waiting for this for so long because the minute the first movie did very well, we were kind of hoping it went into the direction of having a movie based on Shadow. We kind of felt like it had to happen because it's like Shadow, he's one of the bigger characters. He's one of the most beloved characters besides Sonic, and it would not feel right if they just ended the series and never went that route, right? Especially after the success of the first movie, and especially after the success in the credit scene with Shadow. It felt like we've been waiting for so long. Shadow's just one of those characters that we always hope there's new content for, and so it just felt like we were waiting so long. And then, of course, with it being the year of Shadow, it just felt like there was so much to look forward to when it came to him. And so I have to say, it was kind of overwhelming in a way. It was just like there was so much content to eat. It was like, ah. But it was amazing. I felt emotional. Throughout the movie, I laughed so much. I cried too much, and I just felt I felt chills, and it just it felt like a dream, honestly. It was really, I don't know how to explain it, but it was such a good movie. I really enjoyed it, and I went to go see it twice. I went to go see it with my husband and my sister-in-law, and then I went a second time with two of my friends. Honestly, I would be down to see it another time, and I can't wait to get this one on DVD with my other two, because like I said, it's definitely one of my favorites. And it's one of those movies if you've gone and seen the first two movies, you're hoping for the people who also seen the first two movies to really see the third one. It's like, you have to see it. My very first impression of the movie when it first started playing was, whoa. Things are happening so fast. I was not expecting us to go straight into a Shadow scene. In the trailer, they showed the scene where he breaks through the tube, basically. And I thought that was not going to happen until later on, maybe a quarter into the movie, but it was straight into it. It was action non-stop, straight into it. Shadow, bam. I was gun. I was whoa, this is fast. It felt a little fast-paced, honestly. At first, I wasn't sure if I enjoyed the fact that it was so fast-paced, because I'm not the type of person who likes a movie that's super fast-paced or super slow. Like, the timing has to be done really well. And not to like try to rag on the Mario movie or anything, I thought the Mario movie was good, but the pacing felt so fast. It didn't give me a time to really like take in everything. But even though it felt like things started off fast, it really did mellow out in a way that you could kind of take things in. And the way they did it was actually pretty interesting. But yeah, I like that they started off with showing just how powerful Shadow is. You know, they showed how powerful he was right from the start, how emotional he was right from the start, how angry he was right from the start. And I think that was really amazing. And the animation, oh my god, the animation is gorgeous. They did an amazing job for the animation. Of course, we all know Keanu was voicing Shadow, and I think he did a phenomenal job. We've been memeing about this man being Shadow, so we were all just super down for it. And I think he really, really did an amazing job. Like, his voice really does fit Shadow. You can feel the emotion in it. Even when he made little side comments that were like kind of like goofy, like when he said revenge guac. That was so silly, but like it fit something Shadow would say. I don't know why, but it was just really good. But you can really feel the emotion in the way he played Shadow. I do like that they did a lot of switch up. So of course we started off with the movie starting off with like Shadow, like right away. And then we switched into a scene where it's Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and they're going for a race. The race ends up being fake because it was just all a ploy to like make a little surprise party for Sonic's first day on Earth. So their B-Earth Day, or as Sonic said, B-Earth Day. But it was like a little surprise party, and it was really, really cute. Him and Tom had these moments together, and when I'm talking about the switch up, they did a lot of switch up between like, here's Shadow having his really sad, very depressive moments. He's very angry. He's really going through it. He doesn't know where he's at. He's like, what the hell is going on? And it's really dark and gloomy and sad. And then it switches over to Sonic having a great time with his family. Just, he has all these people around him who love him. It's all bright and colorful. And I think it's important that they did that because it kind of shows the difference. And this is going to tie into Sonic a little more later, because I think Sonic can still be a little bit childish, of course. I mean, he's a kid, right? But like, he's gotten so used to the kind of treatment, the special little treatment he's kind of got. And I think he might take a little bit for granted of that. And I think Shadow is the important character to bring in to teach him to like humble a little bit, lower your tone, Sonic. But basically, like, you know, not everyone has this great, amazing life. Now, of course, Sonic did go through a lot at the very beginning as a young kid, but he grew up with Tom and Maddie, Knuckles and Tails, and they just have this great life. I think considering it's B-Earth Day, they're treating it like it's just been a year, which is a lot to happen within a year. But it clearly left a lot on Sonic, and I feel like it was important that they had that distinction between Shadow and Sonic. You know, Shadow's going through this, Sonic's having a great life right now, and it's like, for each of them, each Sonic and Shadow need to be able to see from each other's perspective to kind of appreciate things, and I think that's really important. Well, after Shadow starts wreaking havoc in Tokyo, which is strange, so we take place in multiple, you know, places here. We end up going to London and Tokyo. Shadow ends up being in Tokyo and causing destruction because he's pissed off at Gun, because Gun's coming after him, and he remembers everything Gun did to him and Maria, and of course Gerald Robotnik. Excuse me. And so, you know, Gun comes to Sonic and friends, and they're just like, all right, Team Sonic, let's go, we need your help, after them trying to have a relaxing fucking birthday. So they take him up, they send him to Tokyo, and that's when they kind of have their first meeting with Shadow. And of course we see that in the trailer, you know, you're a colorful bunch, and Knuckles tries to go and fight, you know, Shadow, blah blah blah, you know the gist. And they kind of learn that they're not the strongest thing anymore. They're so used to being these aliens, these strong aliens, but Shadow's not gonna let them get too cocky, right? He's like, no, I'm strong, and you don't know I'm strong, but I'm gonna show you I'm strong. And he's not playing around. He's like, I'm not going to sit here and play with you guys. I'm beating your ass and I'm taking off. I'm leaving. And this is probably one of my slight gripes with the movie. I feel like there are times where, and I think this kind of, I think they did this on purpose because it wants to show how immature Sonic can be and how he has to mature by the end of the movie. But it is one of my slight gripes. There is never, it's really rare that there was a time until the end where Sonic could not take something seriously. Shadow is clearly a threat. Shadow is clearly not playing games, and he wants to come over here and talk about who does your highlights. He's always got to make these little jokes and stuff like that, which of course that's Sonic's character. It's funny. But it's almost like he can't take a moment to realize, we're in a very serious situation. Can I just not for a second? And I don't think it's bad. I do think it was supposed to be that way so that by the end of the movie, he needs to mature a bit. So I'm not gonna be upset about that. It's dumb to be upset about. It's just one little thing. Because it did feel like throughout the movie, it'll be a very serious moment and it's like they don't know how to not throw in humor. To kind of like ease, and I think it's supposed to be a movie for young audience, so I can kind of see, well, maybe they don't want to like make it too serious, even though someone fucking died, Maria, but it seems like they did keep having to throw in like these really weird like comedy moments in between really serious points, and I was just like, let the serious moment kind of happen. It's okay, kids can understand a sad moment. But yeah, after Shadow kind of takes off, they end up going to, I'm trying to remember, because I really wish I would have recorded this right directly after the movie, but, I can't remember if Eggman's tech was being used before they went to the Child Garden or directly after. I'm pretty sure that some of it was showing up beforehand. Yeah, there was some showing up beforehand. And so they end up going to the Child Garden to discuss stuff with the general or the commander. And some of Eggman's robots come in there and kind of destroy stuff. And I don't know if he dies, because they do show him get really injured, and they kind of gloss over it so fast that it's almost like maybe he'll come back later, but he doesn't come back at the end of the movie. He makes a slight reappearance, but it's not really him, it's Tom in disguise, because they have like the little tails pin to help them like disguise themselves as other people. So I'm not sure if he's dead or not. And it's really weird because, oh my god, what was I forgot her name, but it's the chick for Gun. After the commander, like, quote unquote dies, when she comes in there, she doesn't even really check to see if he's okay. She kind of just like, oh my god, the key's gone. And then they gloss over it and they move on. I'm just like, oh, but is he dead though? She gave me clearly bad vibes from the start. I think that was supposed to happen, and clearly we get confirmation of that later on, why she's like, I've never trusted Team Sonic. Like, oh god, you're one of those. They've been helping this whole time, and all of a sudden, I don't trust them. It's like, no, you have an ulterior motive, clearly. Before they come in, though, they get attacked by Eggman's robots, and a motorcycle runs in. Yeah, a fucking motorcycle runs in, Crystal. Good job. A motorcycle drives in and takes out the robots. And everyone's like, what's going on? In my mind, when I first saw that scene, was pretty much right of who it was. And it ended up being Agent Stone. And I was right, it was Agent Stone. I'm sorry, the scene where Knuckles is like, it's the goat milker, and Agent Stone like mimics him, it's a goat milker. That part made me lose it. I don't know why, because it was so out of character for him, but it just made me laugh so hard. It was so stupid. But at this point, they go into the crab, as Agent Stone continues to call it, which is one of Eggman's robots where Eggman's been staying. They all thought he was dead. You clearly can't be dead. I mean, it's Dr. Eggman. And they go in there, and Eggman has gotten fatter. He's slowly getting into his roundness that we expect him to be. And he's watching soap operas. And just like eating the most disgusting looking food, just going through it. And clearly he doesn't care about anything that's going on, because he's lost multiple times. He's like, screw it. But he ends up basically, getting ready to do things again, because someone is impersonating him. They're using his tech, right? They're using his tech to like get into things, hack things, and stuff like that. So they decide they're all going to work together and go figure out who's doing this. It leads them to a prison island. It leads them back to prison island. And there is where we do get some Shadow and Maria. Shadow's going through the area where him and Maria lived and just having these memories. And this is where my emotions were just like fucking gone. I just started crying because it was so beautiful. I love the way they portrayed Maria and Shadow's relationship in this movie. And this is going to be a controversial take. I remember saying this take to a friend and he was like, don't say that on Twitter. And I'm just like, well, you know, this ain't Twitter. They're going to come after me. Oh, they're going to cancel me. Because, you know, Sonic the Hedgehog fans, I love being a Sonic fan, but oh my gosh, we can't have a difference of opinion without someone trying to freaking take us out. I almost said the word that YouTube would have took me out. I actually like the way Maria is done in this movie, and I like her better than in the games. Before your pitchforks, I still love Maria in the games. I think she's adorable and beautiful. I just feel like up until the most recent animations, the 3-part animation, she had barely any personality. We just knew her as a sweet girl and she was nice to Shadow, but other than that, we didn't see much interaction between them besides, you know, her saying nice things, but like there was no personality there. She was kind of bland, honestly, and I was hoping they would dig more into her character so we can know more about how she is as a character, not just Shadow. We did get that a little more with those 3 animations, like I said, and we did dig into her personality a little more, but it still felt like it wasn't enough. The way they and we did not get that much Maria in this movie, but they still put so much into her character compared to, I think compared to the games, that it left an impression on me. I know some people were probably like, oh, she doesn't have her generic outfit and stuff like that. There was a lot of changes that people probably weren't happy with. I was fine with the way she looked because we know dang well she's not wearing the same damn outfit every time. Now the outfit we might see might be like a strong impression on Shadow because maybe that was the last outfit he saw on her before she died. But it could also be just laziness on on the part of like the series where like every series just wants to have her in every outfit. You know how anime can be, same outfit. But I like that they showed her in different outfits. They did change it up. She's not sick and she's not in space. She was born on Earth and she's not sick. Shadow came down as an alien. They're experimenting on him and stuff like that, and she met him that way. She's found him in his little tube, and there's this really cute moment. And this is kind of what pretty much sealed the deal for me with her personality, was the moment she went up there to the tube and he turned around and he was making such an angry face, and then she just she made this face like, ugh, like what's your problem? Like, you got a problem? And it was so cute, and Shadow was like, huh, what? And then so she starts drawing this little bunny face on the glass, and it just went over Shadow's face, and it was just so adorable. Like, it kind of showed to Shadow, like, I'm not afraid of you. I want to know more about you, but I'm not afraid of you. Like, let's be friends. And showing scenes where she's dancing, they're watching movies, she's throwing popcorn at him, she's being pulled around on her skates, and just, she's a little mischievous girl. That's how she should be at her age. And I think it kind of it fits her, like, being a 12-year-old. Sonic has a really bad habit, the series in general, of their ages don't match them as a character, and I think this is the first time like she really matches her age, and I think she's adorable. I know she has slightly different hair and stuff like that, but I think she was adorable. I think she did an amazing job playing as Maria. She was so cute, and her having a slightly deeper voice, honestly, like, I'm fine with that. I think it fits her. It's cute. I don't know, maybe that's me. I might get attacked. I don't care. I think she was adorable in the movie. I like how much they showed Shadow and Maria interacting. We didn't get that much in this series. We mostly got maybe Maria saying a thing to Shadow, and most of it was just the repetitive, him and her running from a gun, her pulling the lever, her getting shot, like the repetitive stuff like that. But we got to see her and Shadow interacting and having a good time, and like I said, them dancing, watching movies, just like showing how they became close, I think is important. And then kind of puts you in a position to feel Shadow's pain, because now you see all the things he did with her. He wasn't just there to protect her or just there because she might have been a sick kid. No, they became friends because she saw him upset and she wanted to know more about him. She wanted to hang out because she thought he was probably cool looking or whatever, and like that's how a little kid thinks. Oh my god, cool, let's be friends. And Shadow never had that before, and everyone he knows there was just experimenting on him. This is the first person who just saw him for who he was and just, you know, wanted to be friends. And seeing that little childish side of Shadow come out was super cute too. Almost to the point where it almost jump scared me when he finally talked after all those moments and his deep voice came out. I was like, oh yeah, Shadow sounds like a whole grown man. But I love their relationship a lot. We have 3 major like emotions going on in this movie, and I feel like they specifically come from, well, 4 actually. They come from Sonic, they come from Shadow, they come from Agent Stone, which honestly hit me a lot more than I thought it was, and then of course Dr. Robotnik. We have Dr. Robotnik who finally meets Gerald Robotnik, which first of all I should probably talk about their meeting, which we kind of saw in the trailer anyway. I like how he had to test him to see, are you really my grandfather? And I don't know, like I was really surprised that Gerald Robotnik was alive, because I felt like it made more sense for Shadow to feel even extra pain, because I was kind of thinking like, well, he was also close with Gerald Robotnik, but in this movie he was experimenting with Shadow just as much as the others. He wasn't really hanging out as much, and he clearly just was using Shadow. It showed the evil side of him, because in the games you kind of get sympathy for him, because it's like, oh my god, they took Maria from him, they took everything from him. He clearly was on the side of Shadow and Maria, where they did nothing wrong and they just got killed. In this movie, it's like Robotnik, or Gerald Robotnik, was essentially the enemy. He was willing to use everyone, including his own grandson, to get where he needs to go. And there's a line later on that really pushes that, but I'll get into that later. I do like the thought that Eggman never really was close with his family, and that's why this meant so much to him. The little funny like montages with him hanging out with Gerald Robotnik and doing stuff with him. But here's the thing, I got the feeling that he was being manipulated from the start. It didn't feel genuine from Gerald Robotnik's side. It felt genuine from Robotnik, but from Eggman, but not from Gerald Robotnik. It just didn't feel genuine. And there was someone else who felt the same way, and that was Agent Stone. Agent Stone clearly, truly cares for Dr. Eggman. He truly loves him. They're so close. He wants to be more than just his agent. He wants to be best friends and really be close and keep him safe. And seeing I feel like he was feeling essentially what the audience was feeling. Like, Gerald Robotnik clearly is using this man, and something bad is gonna happen. And seeing the emotion and just seeing Agent Stone break down little by little, and you kind of see it with the movies too. Like the first 2 movies were like, they were, you know, he was always helping him out, and then slowly but surely it's just like he's getting this distance from him, but he wants to be close, and it's sad. And the emotion that he put into Agent Stone's character was phenomenal. Like, I felt like such a brilliant actor. Like, I feel like we don't give enough credit to some of these actors, especially in movies that are considered childlike. Like, I think the emotion was really strong in here with Jim Carrey and Lee, and it was really good. But yeah, like, I felt so bad for Agent Stone. Just watching from the distance, like, the one guy he wants to see as his best friend is just like being taken away and being manipulated, and when you can't do nothing about it, like, that hurts a lot. It really does hurt. But they end up coming up with this plan where they need to go into gun headquarters, because in order to use the Eclipse cannon you need 2 separate keys. One key where Sonic clearly got from the commander, and then the second one is on lockdown at the gun headquarters. Now we do get to before we meet Gerald Robotnik, they do Dr. Eggman, Agent Stone, Team Sonic ends up meeting up with each other and going to find out who's using Eggman's robots, and then he gets the key taken from him by Shadow because, you know, he decided to keep it on him. And now they end up trying to come up with a plan to also get the key. So we have two sides going for the key. We have the Gerald Robotnik's team, and then we have Team Sonic. They end up getting Maddie and Tom involved to use disguises to help them get into the gun headquarters. And then when Maddie and Tom get there, they realize they're not the only ones trying to get into this system. And guess who's there? Gerald Robotnik and Eggman. There's this really funny moment where they have a dance number because Eggman made these suits to reflect lasers. And instead of just going through, they're like, let's fucking break it down and have a whole dance number. And it just gave Jim Carrey vibes so strongly. It was like the Grinch, the Mask, all of it, I feel like he must have truly enjoyed being back in his element, because it just felt like I didn't really feel like I was watching Eggman and Gerald Robotnik. I was watching just Jim Carrey do his thing. It was really, really funny. And just, I don't know, it was so good. And then, you know, of course, for things finally, and it's kind of one of those moments I talked about where, like, nothing can stay serious, just they have to throw something goofy in. Which, you know, some of the moments are really great, but at the same time, it's like, brother. But, yes, we get in there, and there's a kind of like a force field that does gravity, it messes with gravity, so it either takes you to the ground or gives you no gravity. So we end up having both, you know, Maddie and Tom and, you know, Dr. Eggman and Gerald on the floor because the gravity. And then I think Sonic gets floated into the air. And then, of course, that gun chick, which I can never remember her name. I'm so sorry. The one who clearly is like, I don't trust Team Sonic because why the fuck would she even know they've been helping them? She comes in there. She's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. Blah, blah, blah. I just did not like her. I was like, you didn't know nothing. But she came in there, and then there's this whole moment where she and Eggman are trying to go for the key, and Knuckles comes in and breaks the glass. It just sounds kind of like all over the place, because I'm just speaking what's on my mind. I didn't write a script for this. And it's all chaos. You got gun soldiers, you got Team Sonic, the Robotnik, the lady, all of them are in there, and they're floating or falling to the ground, and everything's going haywire because Knuckles punched the controller. And everything just starts going crazy. Then we get this moment where, like, the part of the ceiling is about to fall down and kill Maddie and Tom. So, you know, Sonic has to go save them. And eventually, the lady ends up getting the key. She walks out, and she's walking with the key, and Tom ends up using his disguise, his little pin to disguise himself as the commander. And like I said, this is the only other time we see the commander. And he basically convinces her to give him the key, which is strange because that's why I'm saying I don't know if he's dead, because she should have been surprised if she thought he was dead, like, oh, what the fuck, okay. But no, she complied. She eventually complied. It wasn't like, oh my god, you're alive. Like, it was weird. So I don't think he's dead, but we won't know for sure until we get, I guess, the fourth movie. And so she ends up leaving, and he's still disguised as the commander. And mind you, this commander was there back then when Shadow and Maria was alive and all the experiments were going on. And Shadow shows up and he sees him and he ends up punching him. And unfortunately, he's not really punching the commander, he's punching Tom. And he does such a blow that it completely knocks Tom out to the point where he's fighting for his life. Sonic runs in and he's freaking the fuck out because he's like, oh my god, what did you do to Tom? And you can see Shadow feel bad because clearly he didn't want to just go after some random guy, but then he sees Sonic. He's like, I did what I had to, because right now he's running on emotions too. And this is where we get a very important part as far as Sonic and Knuckles and Tails, and just Sonic specifically, in as far as his maturity. He gets so upset because now he's about to lose a second person, and he's not about to have it. So he starts fighting with Knuckles and Tails because he wants to use the Chaos Emeralds. And in order to use the Chaos Emeralds, he needs the Master Emerald. And if you don't know Sonic lore, the Chaos Emeralds go off of what's in your heart. I'm surprised they didn't go a different way with this, but normally if you're feeling negative feelings and stuff, that it can go really badly. It's why the echidnas got wiped out. It's why we had Dark Sonic and Sonic X, and why they don't want Eggman to get a hold of them, because using evil, it could cause destruction. So you get this moment where Sonic is fighting specifically with Knuckles, because Knuckles like, you're not gonna get the Master Emerald. Are you crazy? And they're fighting, but you can see that Sonic is so hurt and he's willing to fight them to get this. Knuckles sees that he's writing off emotions, and he's like, you know what? I'll let you do it, but don't regret it. Like, you don't fuck up, you know. So he tells them, hey, you got to go get it from someone who's protecting the Master Emerald. Now here's where I get a little like, what the fuck? It's like, Paramount, come on. Listen, Wade's a fun character, don't get me wrong, but why would you put him in charge of watching the Master Emerald? He's not, he's in no way should he be watching the Master Emerald. And it's one of those moments, once again, where they have to throw it in something silly, even though the moment is like super serious. Like, and it's not like Sonic changed to being silly when he interacted with Wade. He's still really upset and pissed off, and you just have this moment where Wade's being silly, and it's like, it's kind of weird and out of place. But I don't know. I feel like that was not necessary. I feel like it might have been better if like they went back to wherever Knuckles was keeping it, besides not having to deal with Wade, no offense. But then we get, you know, we finally get to a point where the Eclipse Cannon, oh, and I forgot to mention that before, I'm trying to remember exactly how this happened, but the crab that, you know, Shadow and Lee were in, oh my god, Agent Stone was in before he left to go to Gun Headquarters, got washed up. And, well, Shadow can chaos control. Agent Stone can't, so he got washed up in there. And so he eventually crawls down. He's clearly upset. You know, he's not feeling... So he's not even on the Ark right now. So Shadow, Jerry Robotnik, and Eggman are on the Ark. And Agent Stone calls him. He's like, hey, this is a bad idea. I don't trust them, blah, 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 blah. And he ends up getting hung up on and blocked or whatever by Robotnik. Because Robotnik feels, this is family. This is important. He would never betray me, blah, blah, blah. Well, long and behold, he betrays him. And Eggman can't comprehend, like, what the hell is going on? What? you just decided to betray me for no reason? But it's not for no reason. He was going to do this all along, you know? And then Eggman, and this has been something that's been pretty prominent in just modern Eggman, he doesn't want to destroy the planet. He just wants to take over so he can run it. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want to destroy the planet. So when he hears that and it's going to destroy everyone, he's like, we can't have this. And now Eggman is seeing Gerald Robotnik for who he really is, and he's just like, there's no way, like, we can't do this. Then, not too long after that, Supersonic, because, you know, he turned super with the Master Emerald or the Chaos Emeralds, and he goes straight for Shadow, and they start fighting. They start going from, because, you know, we also have Chaos Energy, so they're going from country to country, and then they end up on the moon, and they're fighting and stuff. And, you know, because he's so mad that Tom is on the verge of death. And he's, you know, just fighting, and he's so upset. And then, of course, we get a moment where Shadow ends up turning super. Because I think at some point, I can't remember. My brain, it's overloading. They end up fighting, and this is by the point, by the way, where I'm getting knocked out of my fucking chair because Shadow and Sonic are going crazy in this fight, and they're fighting and stuff, and we get this beautiful moment where Sonic's about to take out Shadow because Shadow said some really bad things about Tom, and so he takes Shadow out, and he's getting ready to basically kill him, and Shadow's like, do it, coward, do it, I'm right here. And then Sonic realizes this isn't the way to go, you know, and he stops being super, and him and Shadow end up having this whole chat about it, and Shadow's like, why didn't you do what you needed to do? And, you know, they kind of talk it out, and, you know, at some point they end up, you know, not making up because they never got along to begin with, but they end up kind of coming together and realizing that this is not what Maria would have wanted, and it's hard dealing with loss. And he knows what it's like to deal with loss, but you have to keep it moving. And honestly, this is the point where I was also really emotional because I just recently lost my grandmother, and I know that sometimes you want to be angry because the way things went down with her death, I was very angry about how things went. Things I feel like could have been prevented. But you can't be angry forever. You can't be angry at the world. And usually, more times than not, that person wouldn't want you to be that type of person. They want you to keep it moving. And so it really meant a lot hearing that. And then they end up coming together and being like, we got to stop this eclipse cannon. I forgot to mention that there's this part where Eggman and Robotnik, Gerald Robotnik, has this moment where, like, Eggman's trying to be like, no, we're gonna be together. We're gonna do this together forever, right? And he was like, you're no Maria. And the hurt on his face, the hurt in my heart, I was like, no, he didn't deserve that. It's just like, it's so messed up that clearly he was just using Eggman and using Shadow because this, and listen, I get it. He's in pain because of Maria, but I don't think that's the way to go. And I think this is where it gets me a little frustrated because I think they could have really had a serious moment between these two where they're fighting, but they made it really, really goofy. And then the way Gerald Robotnik goes out is like a mosquito or a fly to a buzzer, and it's just like, why did they do it like that? They couldn't have a serious moment for once. Like I said, if there's any gripe with this movie, is that I think there could have been some moments that just stood serious. You don't need to throw comedy in every little thing to make someone who might feel a little uncomfy. Like, sometimes life is just uncomfy, and I think that's fine. But back to what I was talking about with Shadow and Sonic, we get this very epic moment where Live and Learn plays, and I'm just like, and I didn't even mention this earlier, that Live and Learn was being played on a guitar earlier in the movie, and I was like, and they played Eggman's theme on his cell phone. It was just so much going on. Oh my god. And so we get Super Sonic, Super Shadow, and they're trying to steer the ship away from Earth, and they end up shooting the moon. So it wasn't like in the games where the moon was kind of like a warning. It was, oops, we couldn't completely move it from Earth, and the moon was in the way. I'm a little sad that the Bio Lizard wasn't in there, because I feel like the Bio Lizard played a really big part in the fight, but it wasn't a bad ending. I don't think it was bad the direction they went. I feel like it was a great direction to tell a story to some people who might not even know anything about Sonic, especially Sonic Adventure 2. So I think the way they did the movie was great. Then we get near the end where Eggman decides, I'm going to, well, the ship, so they steer the ship away, but it's still going to explode. And so Sonic, while they're trying to move the ship, Sonic and Shadow, Sonic loses his power and passes out. Tails goes down to help him, so does Knuckles. And Shadow's like, Eggman, can you do this? You have to control this while I move the ship so we can not let it blow up the Earth. So we have Shadow out there, and then we have Eggman controlling it. And while he's controlling it, he sends a message to Agent Stone, and it was so beautiful. I'm sorry. I wanted to cry. Just the emotion in Jim Carrey's eyes and Elie's eyes when they were just like playing this part was so good. And they outdid themselves in this movie. They really did. And then, of course, Eggman sacrifices himself. And now, I think me and you know that he's probably not gone. I mean, he's Eggman. He always comes back, especially if we're continuing with another movie. But we don't know where they're going to go with this. But it was really, really, really sad. And I wanted to cry. Then we kind of get to the ending where we kind of have another race between the three, and they're making snacks and stuff. And Tom's okay. Tom comes out. They're supposed to be making him snacks, but Knuckles and Sonic's greedy ass didn't give him nothing. But then they have another race, and then the movie kind of ends there. I'm probably really, really, really bad at a whole like review, but like I just wanted to talk. I'm just talking. I didn't have a script. I just wanted to talk what was on my mind. And then, girl, we have the mid-credit scene where I screamed. We get Sonic, who's still in the race with oh my god, with Tails and Knuckles, and he ends up going too far, I think to like New York. And he's like, oh, well, I guess I took this race too far. And then out of the bushes comes Metal Sonic. And I was like, yes, let's go. I really wish they would have done this for the third movie instead, but nonetheless, they introduced Metal Sonic. And I was like, oh my god, finally, we're going to see Metal Sonic. Which, by the way, my theory is Metal Sonic is around because Robotnik's still alive. But we'll see if that's the route they go. I feel like him taking his little Sonic spine and he kind of kept it. Maybe he, cloned him and made Metal Sonic, or just built him from what I remember. I think he's still alive. Cause I'm gonna guess there's been time since that happened because Tom is out of the hospital, right? So it has to have been some time. So I feel like Eggman would have enough time. And I'll tie that into the ending credit scene. But anyway, we get Metal Sonic, and then Metal Sonic ends up coming out with a bunch of other Metal Sonics, and they surround Sonic, and there's about to be a whole throwdown. And then something beautiful and pink flies around and destroys things, and it ends up being the most beautiful, lovely, amazing Amy. She looks so good. She looks so cute. Oh my god, I love her so much. I screamed so loud. I was so happy. I was like, let's go! Oh my god, I'm super excited. So it looks like we're going the Sonic City route, possibly. So I'm super, super excited. And then we get to the ending credit scene where it shows that Shadow is still alive. And the reason why that's great is, one, it's possible that we could get one, Rouge, and two, Sonic Heroes type stuff later on, because that's when he comes back. But it could also mean that clearly Shadow and Eggman survived, therefore he had the time to make Metal Sonic, so he clearly must still be alive. So I think the next movie is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it come out. It's probably going to come out in 2026, obviously. But yeah, it was a good movie. I think it's definitely one of my favorites. I probably gave it no justice in the way I was talking because I'm all over the damn place, but I really enjoyed this movie. Like I said, I laughed, I cried, I went through it. I was going through it. I was in my feels because all the great freaking Live and Learn playing was, oh my god, so good. I know some people were complaining about Live and Learn because they wanted it to be the whole song, but it's the movie. They're gonna change it up, guys. Like, come on now. You fuck it. With the first movie, we didn't get shit, so we're moving forward. I really enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, I highly suggest seeing it. I don't know how much longer it's going to be in theaters. There's probably not going to be that many people in the theater, so it's not going to be as hype. But if you can see it in theaters, especially 4DX, I highly suggest it. If not, it'll be coming on Paramount Plus soon. Or probably on YouTube as well. You can pay for it, probably. But yeah, I enjoyed that movie. This was my spoiler type review. It was, I don't even know if you want to call it a review. It was just Crystal rambling on about the Sonic movie. But those are my thoughts on it. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed it or are going to go enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button and subscribe button, and tell me in the comments some of your favorite moments in the movie. And let's talk about it. Let's discuss it in the comments. Shoot, like, fuck it. I'm gonna put that as a spoiler review so that no one comes in here acting like they surprised that I spoiled the movie. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.